Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Carlo V. Abenoja, and I'm one of the reporters for this afternoon. And the topic assigned to us is the role of the youth in nation building. So I hope that you will be able to learn something in our presentation for today. As stated by our national hero, Dr. Jose P. Rizal, that the youth is the hope of our motherland. Ang kabataan ang pag-asa ng bayan. He put great importance in the youth. He considered the youth as a very important factor in our society. So let's find out why. But first, let us know what is this youth. So youth is the period between childhood and adult stage. And according to the World Health Organization, those children or people who range from the ages of 15 to 24 years old are considered as the youth. And according to the Philippine Statistics Authority, there are 19.8 million youth in our country as of January 2020. But basically, the youth are us, students from high school to college who have very significant roles in building our nation. But let us tackle those roles one by one and define them each. But first, let us include and consider and think about that good governance come from good citizens, as well as good citizens come from good governance. So it is a relationship of give and take from citizens and the government. So why am I talking about the government? It's because the government also plays a role in molding the youth into becoming people who will later on lead the future of our nation. So a certain program which is upheld by our government is known as the National Service Training Program. It is a program or a civic education and defense preparedness program instituted by the government of the Philippines on the 23rd of July 2001 by virtue of the Republic Act 9163, otherwise known as the National Service Training Program or NSTP Act of 2020 or 2001. So why is this NSTP important, especially in us in college? It is because this program will help us to be better citizens in the future. It will teach us how to be. It will give us a spoiler, kumbaga. It will give us an overview of the duties that we will be handling when we are now the functioning citizens of our nation. So there are 3 programs or components that are in line or that compose NSTP, and these are the Reserve Office Training Corps, ROTC, more on military type, Literacy Training Services, LTS, and Civic Welfare Training Services, which we belong in, more on volunteerism and social work. So, yes, the role of NSTP is to mold the youth, and the role of the youth is to build our nation in the future. So it is a very significant there is a very significant connection between the two, especially because the role of NSTP is to build the youth. It was also stated in the National Service Training Program Act of 2001 or the RA 9163 under the Section 2, which states that the youth is the most valuable resource of our nation. So why is that? Again, even though the youth already has its own functioning role for today, their main function is for our nation, because in the future, the youth will become the functioning units of our society and our nation. They will be the one to lead and as well as maintain our nation's integrity, security, and build our nation for the future. But apart from that, there is also the 3 program components of the NSTP. So the NSTP, under these are Reserve Officers Training Corps or the ROTC, which is a program institutionalized under the sections 38 and 39 of Republic Act number 777, designed to provide military training or to tertiary level students in order to motivate, train, organize, and mobilize them for national defense preparedness. So this program is usually under military service and prepares the youth to become the soldiers of our country or to serve our country in the future via these kind of services. So it is usually implemented in tertiary colleges which has or offers the military courses and etc. The next would be the Literacy Training Service or LTS, which is a program designed to train students to become teachers or literacy and numeracy skills to school children or out of school youth and to other segments of the society in need of their service. So it basically helps the youth to become these kind of teachers and etc. The next would be the Civic Welfare Training Service or CWTS, which we are under in. Refers to programs or activities contributory to the general welfare and the betterment of life for the members of the community or the enhancement of its facilities, especially those developed to or devoted to improving health, education, environment, entrepreneurship, safety, recreation, and morals of the citizenry. So this type of program involves volunteerism as a whole, also the creation of organizations, mga pagsulong, being an activist, and etc. All in all, for the goal of the betterment in social service or in service of our nation or the services of our nation in line with health, education, environment, and etc. Now let us determine other roles of youth in the present apart from being the functioning citizen unit of the future. So apart from following the 12 little things that we can do in our country by Alex Lacson, there are also other roles that the youth could play or the youth plays in our country or nation. And it includes in various aspects the role of the youth. It plays a role in the economic, political aspect, social aspect, and many more. So the youth itself is very important in the present because it is the point before reaching the adult or the functioning unit of our nation. So in preparation to that, the choices that the youth will make as of today and their decisions will greatly affect what our country will be in the future. So it is very important to know the role of the youth in these aspects. So my co-reporter will be reporting the different roles of the youth in line with these aspects.
The role of the youth in the social aspect. When the youth are engaged, particularly when empowerment and development opportunities are provided, there are multiple benefits for the society. For example, the knowledge that is generated and is accessible to the youth. While the youth today are well adapted on technology and social media, well informed on how the trends work, they can manipulate it well so they have access to different informations. As they're well informed on how social media works or how the media works, they're able to separate fake news from real news. So with this, youth have the capacity to spread the true information. So when the youth contribute his ideas and energy to resolve the social issues with those informations that he gets, he becomes a capable leader and can also make a difference in the lives of others. The role of the youth in the economic aspect. So the youth is the indicator of how developed a country is. They determine how fast or slow the economy grows. For example, If the youth don't get employed, the level of poverty increases due to the constantly increasing number of youth, and this means that even if the working population generates capital on one hand, the youth will be negating its effect on the other hand, and therefore at the end of the day, there will be no significant economic growth. So how can the youth, or how does the youth contribute to the economic development? Producing products, selling services, making startup businesses, and marketing are some of the ways youth can affect the economy. The knowledge and skills of young people today allow them to create legal economies and navigate the larger economies around them. Youth creating economies are responsible for creating, designing, producing, marketing, selling, and reinvesting in things they care about in ways they care for. This can change the world in powerful ways by fostering dynamic and disruptive new ways. So the youth is the driving force of a country's economic progress. Their role in the workforce and economic development of our nation is critical because they represent, at any given moment, 1/3 of the workforce in our country. So when the youth of a nation are focused on economic development, that particular nation is more likely to achieve its development vision. Next is the role of the youth in the political aspect. So let's talk about voting. Voting is a fundamental act of civic participation through which young people can contribute to democracy. While it's one of many forms that youth engagement can take, it is a powerful way for youth to make their voices heard and to have an impact on the issues that affect them and their communities. Their votes can be influential and even decisive, because as you can see on the chart, young Filipino voters today may make a difference in next year's national elections as they now comprise 52% of the total registered voters. As of July 2021, 60 million Filipinos are already registered for the 2022 general elections, and out of those 60 million, 31.41 million voters are in the age group of 18 to 40 years old, and therefore classified as the youth vote. So you can see how significant the youth vote is in the coming elections. Young voters have the power to sway elections. So the inclusion of youth in the political side of the country is important, because for political systems to be representative, all parts of society must be included. So when young people are disengaged from political processes, a significant portion of the population has little to no voice or influence in the decisions that affect the group members' lives. So to make a difference in the longer term, it is essential that young people are engaged in formal political processes and have a say in formulating today's and tomorrow's politics. For young people to be adequately represented in political institutions, processes, and decision-making, in particular in elections, they must know their rights and be given the necessary knowledge and capacity to participate in a meaningful way at all levels. It is important that we register to vote and when eligible, and that we educate ourselves and vote along one's line of beliefs.
Good day, everyone. I am Hazen Ayop, and at this juncture, I will be discussing my part, which is the notable youth and their contributions in the Philippines, and also a youth from outside the country. Now, as you can see in my presentation, we have the following youth who made a great contribution in their respective fields and became a great role model we students or youth should follow or reflect with. They are Vico Soto, Greta Thunberg, and Sara Ilago. Now, let us first talk about the very well-known youth politician in the country. He is in the person of Victor Maria Reyes Nobla Soto, or also known as Vico Soto. Vico Soto is a Filipino politician who now serves as the 20th and current mayor of Pasig, Metro Manila. In 2016, Soto ran for a seat in the Pasig City Council for the first time. He was elected as an independent and served on the municipal council. A lot of people, especially the youth, commend him as a politician for his new kind of government implemented in Pasig City. He is known for his good governance in the city council. He recently been recognized by Biden's administration as one of the 12 global anti-corruption champion. He values transparency as well, especially in the bidding of city projects. During the campaign, Soto stated that healthcare in Pasig will be first focus as an anti-poverty strategy. Despite the various health facilities in Pasig, he emphasized the necessity of having enough medicine. Soto's other top goal was housing. He assured the public that every family in Pasig would ultimately own their own house, and that informal settlers would not be compelled to leave their houses until primary services and livelihood could be guaranteed at the chosen relocation site. Soto vowed as part of his educational platform to make scholarships more accessible to Pasig people by streamlining the application procedure. He singled out elimination need that parents present copies of their voter registration credentials while applying for scholarships in Pasig City. Mayor Soto was able to gather 1.2 billion pesos to offer tablets and laptops to its public school pupils in elementary, junior, and senior high school together with their instructors and teachers in preparation for the forthcoming school opening under the new normal, which is happening at the moment. Moreover, in contrast to the previous administration's management style, Soto also vowed that all municipal government actions would be subject to public comment. He also promised transparency in all aspects of government initiatives, from planning to implementation to monitoring and assessment. Soto proposes more concrete measures under this agenda, such as public officials nominating members to local special bodies and creating sectoral councils in sectors like transportation and environmental protection, which will be entrusted with crafting laws in those areas. Lastly, Vico was able to continually handling the pandemic to the best of his ability. Next, let us move on to the great girl in this generation and also an environmental champion, no other than Miss Greta Thunberg. Miss Greta Thunberg is a Swedish environmental advocate noted for challenging world leaders to take rapid action to combat climate change. I know you remember and know this woman. As you can remember, she is the brave girl who carried a placard that read School Strike for Climate in order to put pressure on the government to achieve carbon emission targets. Her little effort had made a global impact, encouraging millions of young people worldwide to organize their own strikes as well. Moreover, because of her, the Greta Thunberg Foundation was established in 2019 to help initiatives and organizations working towards a more equitable and sustainable society via the donation of award and royalty funds related to Greta Thunberg's advocacy. Lastly, Greta Thunberg was Time magazine's Youngest Person of the Year. In 2019, Thunberg's protesting, fundraising, and activism made her the youngest person to be given the Time Magazine Person of the Year award. She became a great role model for youth like us. Frankly, I do really admire this young woman for loving Earth and environment as well. And now, we are down at the last notable youth, no other than Miss Sara Ilago. She is a Filipina activist and a politician, a current member of the Philippine House of Representatives for its 17th and 18th Congress, both times representing the youth sector under the Kabataan Party List. So, before entering the Congress, Before she entered the Congress, she was also the national president of the National Union of Students in the Philippines. And as of May 2019, she is the youngest woman lawmaker in the Philippines. She has a number of contributions, and one of them are the following. When she runs for the Kabataan Party List, she advocates not just for the promotion of the youth agenda, but also for a free education, especially to the underprivileged, free internet for everybody, and gender equality for the LGBTQ community. She has also donated her hair to help breast cancer warriors and survivors to show her support. Moreover, Ilago is also the founding president of the Philippine Stuttering Association, an advocacy group aimed at increasing awareness about stuttering. Next, Ilago has currently written or authored 257 House bills and co-written 8 House bills. During her time in the 18th Congress, she has already sponsored 426 legislations. She is not just the youngest politician, but also the poorest, with a net worth of 85,400 US dollars, or 4,270,000 in peso, according to her 2018 statement on assets, liabilities, and net worth, or SALN. Wait, there's more. She authored the act that allows an increase of wage for public school teachers and other uniform or government personnel, and also the act that provides teaching supplies and allowances for the school teachers in the public institutions. So, before we end, I must say that this exemplary youth from the Philippines and abroad just prove that it is not the age that dictates how much you can do and how much you can go. It is the capacity and the willingness to do it. Just like Vico Soto, Greta Thunberg, and Sara Ilago, we youth have a crucial and significant part in nation building. We have the capacity and power to facilitate a country's development and growth, and also, we are in charge of bringing about social transformation within a country. A country's future is determined by its youth and its young. It is determined by us. As I end my discussion, let us not forget what our hero, Andres Bonifacio, had said. You are never too young to lead. Thank you and good afternoon.